Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica, my pronouns are she, her, and this is the book cover telephone tag. I'm joined today by my two new Halloween decorations, pot pie and noodle soup. They are chicken skeletons, they're plastic, they're fake. I mean, these are not at all anatomically correct. Feathers, their wattles do not have bones in them, so yeah, plastic, but I love them. Noodle soup and pot pie welcome you. This tag was originally created by Elizabeth at Reading Riley, and the goal is that you find books that have similar features on the cover. For this book, I decided to go with only books that I had on my own bookshelf. And the book that I started with was This Poison Heart by Kaylin Byron, and I don't completely remember why I started with this one. I think it might have just been the book I was reading at the time. So without further ado, let's go through this. I have 10 books that I've matched up. With This Poison Heart by Kaylin Byron, I matched it to Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor because they have a similar color scheme, and these were both Owlcrate books. So This Poison Heart is a YA fantasy about Bree, who does plant magic, and she inherits a property. And this property has like a secret garden in it where she can manipulate the plants in this garden. All these shady characters show up. It's a fun ride. I read this, I want to say I read this in June, and I did a vlog reading it, so I will link you up here to that vlog if you are interested. I have not yet read Hotel Magnifique, but I think that it's about a hotel that shows up in the city, and it is a YA fantasy, and I guess this hotel is like full of magic and there's a romance in there. I mean, it sounds really cute and fun. The book that I paired this with was Hotel Transylvania by Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough. So Hotel Transylvania is a vampire story. It is about, what is his name? The Comte de Saint Germain. And this one's also set in Paris. This one's set in Paris too, I think. So they match up that way, right? Both hotels, both set in France somewhere. So in this novel, the Comte de Saint Germain, he's a vampire. He falls in love with a lady. It's set in the 1700s. And it's kind of like a historical vampire story. I have read about half of this and then I DNF'd it, but lately I'm kind of getting the itch to finish it because I've been thinking about this book since I did this tag. I kept this book because I absolutely love the throwback cover on it. It's like printed in the 1970s, I think. And so I couldn't get rid of it just because I absolutely love the cover, but I didn't finish it. And honestly, I might pick it up again depending on my mood. We'll just see. We will see. But yeah, it's an adult fantasy. The book that I paired this with was Pet Sematary by Stephen King. And I paired it up because they both have the retro covers. So Pet Sematary is a classic that I'm sure you've heard of. It's adult horror. And it's about this family in Maine who moves next door to a cemetery that children have buried their pets in. And it's not your normal pet cemetery. It's very creepy and all these spooky things start happening. This is my favorite book by Stephen King. And it's probably, if not my favorite, one of my favorite horror novels of all time. I paired this one with A Carnivore's Inquiry by Sabina Murray because they both have like an animal on the cover that's like got their mouth open ready to like bite. So like right there's a wolf on this one and then there's the cat on this one. So that's why I paired these two. I have not read this one yet, but it is one of those sad girl lit fic books that has thriller elements in it because there's like a ring of murders that the main character is sort of centered around, and there's supposedly cannibalism involved in this, so I'm interested to pick this one up soon actually. The reason I bought it was because I had just read My Dark Vanessa, and after reading My Dark Vanessa I was like, I need more books written in that style, like this sad girl self-destructive lit fic girly, and this is one of the books that came up in the searches that I did, so hopefully I'll read this soon. I paired this one with Sin by Farouk Farouk Hassad because both women are smoking cigarettes. on the cover. You can see. So Sin by Farrokh Hassad is a book of translated poetry. She is an Iranian poet, one of the most well-known and beloved women poets of Iran. And I absolutely love these poems. They are rich with sensual details, nature metaphors, big life questions. There's angst, there's wondering, there's desire. It's all in here. I loved this collection of poems. I paired this one actually with My Dark Vanessa because they're both black and white covers of women who seem to be in distress. So, My Dark Vanessa is adult literary fiction. It's about a sad girl lit fic, but it's about Vanessa who has an illicit relationship with her high school teacher when she's in high school. She's essentially, my kitty is sneezing. Baby, those are some sneezes. Okay, hopefully her sneeze attack is done. She's also monochrome, Miss Pie. Anyway, she has this illicit relationship with her teacher in high school. She's essentially abused by him. And now it goes between multiple timelines. So there's the time period where she's experiencing the abuse, and then there's like a flash forward timeline where it's part of the Me Too movement, and all of these people are pressuring her to talk out and speak out about the abuse she endured. But in her head, it was love. So she doesn't want to speak out about it. So this is such a good book. This was my book of the year in 2020, I believe. 2020 or 2021. This is my book of the year. Loved it so very much. The way it addresses these complex issues, the way it illustrates the abuse and what goes on in Vanessa's head as a victim of that abuse, how that situation is not as cut and dry as it seems, that there are many layers and many complicated feelings involved in a situation like that for all parties involved. So this is definitely one of my favorite books of all time. It made it to that list. So this is where it's at. I actually paired this. So I also have the book Acts of Desperation, which goes so well with that cover, but that's not the one I pair it with. So the one I chose to pair it with was actually Orlando by Virginia Woolf, going for the monochrome cover theme. So Orlando is one of Virginia Woolf's longer novels. Virginia Woolf is considered, you know, to be a contemporary classic author. She does a lot of stream of consciousness writing, and Orlando is definitely stream of consciousness, and it basically tracks the life of this character, Orlando. It addresses issues of trans identity. Actually, really interestingly addresses issues of trans identity during this particular time period, addresses issues of sexuality and gender fluidity. It's absolutely brilliant. This is also one of my favorite books of all time, if not my favorite book of all time, actually. So not Virginia. So Orlando by Virginia Woolf. And if you didn't know, my little dog, Orlando, he was named after this Orlando, not the city Orlando. And not Orlando Bloom. No, this Orlando. Okay, the book that I paired Orlando with was The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, because both of these covers have a woman in like this really beautiful flowing dress. See what I did there? Okay. So The Hacienda I have not read yet, but I've heard that this is very much similar to Mexican Gothic. It's a haunted house story set in Mexico, and there might be some sort of like mafia themes in here too. I could be completely wrong. I just remember when I read the description and it was a book of the month selection, I was like, yes, please, this sounds amazing. Haven't read it yet. Maybe I'll read it during spooky season since there's a potential haunted house involved. And then this is the last book. This is the book that I paired with The Hacienda, and it is Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. So I paired them because they both have like the fire. There's like fire in the background here, like those reds and oranges and a woman's silhouette. Like, I feel like they match really well. So Bonfire is written by Kristen Ritter, who is the actress Kristen Ritter, who played Jessica Jones and who's from the show Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 13. She is actually a really good writer, y'all. This book was so much fun. It is a rural thriller. and I loved it. I loved it. I think this is comparable to a, oh, what's her name? She wrote Gone Girl. Why can't I think of her name? Whatever the name is, I can't believe I'm forgetting it because she's one of my favorite rural thriller writers. So I will leave her name up here. I'm having a middle-aged moment. But yeah, her writing is comparable to that author's. It's dark, it's twisted. There's parts in here that have some like magical realism. There's not actual magic happening, but there's just like, where you're like, what the heck is going on? It's sort of like fever dream scenes in there. The characters are dynamic and interesting. The plot was really good. If you haven't checked this out yet, definitely recommend it, and don't write it off just because it's by Kristen Ritter. I think she's a really talented writer, and I hope that she writes more. Those are my 10 books that I paired cover to cover, matched up with those different elements. And this was a really fun tag to put together. If you haven't done this tag yet, I tag all of you to do it because Elizabeth has created something super fun here. So definitely give it a go if you haven't already. Have you read any of these books that I shared with you? Let me know your thoughts on them down below. No spoilers. If you're liking my content, make sure to like and subscribe. Boy, I don't like saying that, but there it is. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other.